Welcome to Sipping on Excellence. This is Coach KJ, and I'm here with my man, my dude, the Doc.
And this is where we will be discussing the exceptional that is absolutely attainable. My friends, here's to living that extraordinary life.
Cheers.
Cheers. This brother glasses all fogging up.
Oh man, I'm getting into it today. Let me take these things off. It kept me sweating up in this camera.
Right.
You know, he like a little warm in here.
Wow. Anyway, what's going on, man?
You know.
You good?
Just living that fantastic, fabulous life.
Living the dream.
How you doing, man?
Doing all right, man. Doing all right.
How y'all doing out there?
Welcome, y'all, to another episode of Sippin' on Excellence.
That where we try to sip on a little bit of excellence every single day.
And try to share it with y'all.
I know.
You know, conversations that are tough to have but are necessary conversations.
What did I say earlier? You know, I have a degree in this, I have a degree in that. But, you know, it's all about the conversate.
Don't you hate when people don't know how to say converse?
Oh, my God.
People be conversating all the time.
All the time. I mean, you know, Biggie can say it because it goes in the lyrics.
Right. But even Biggie knew that it was just for the lyric.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounded good, though. Conversate for a few because in a few.
And I hate when educated people, so-called educated people, don't know how to use proper grammar.
Because they throw around their weight first, and then they want to
throw around their degrees and all that other crap. And it's like, come on, man. Come on.
Get out of here.
So,
Let's be giving you the eyeball out there. Get out of here with that.
Now that we're well into 2023, a whole week.
A whole whopping week. Yeah, man. People,
no telling when y'all are going to hear this one, but, you know. We're hitting the ground running with Sipping on Excellence, man.
We are. Yeah, we are.
We are. No, seriously. I mean, it's nonstop. People are like, oh, y'all aren't going to take a little hiatus and maybe take a couple weeks off.
Continuous.
Our hiatus is what happens during the week.
Right. Exactly.
And so it allows us to bring all of this to all of you.
And hopefully one day all this we bring it to you will come in more dosage.
That's the goal.
That's the goal.
That's the goal. We're trying to hit y'all on every medium. You know, we got the YouTube that y'all. I'm gonna say this out now. Y'all are slacking.
Oh yeah.
Y'all need to go subscribe. Check it out, man.
Understand what we're drinking and why we're doing it, and what it looks like.
The podcast is good, but this is getting a lot better when you see it. You know, most of y'all, if you don't have time, you like to put this in your ears and run with it. Do whatever you want to do. Watch us too, because
you know what's funny is because when I'm at home editing, I'm like, oh my God, that was funny. I'm laughing out loud, like I got headphones on,
because it's different when you see it.
Yeah, you're like, oh my God, that was funny.
But we do appreciate all of you who subscribe to the podcast. Our growth has been phenomenal, which we're happy with. Everybody's been giving us good feedback, which is kind of cool. Nobody's really been throwing out much negative at us. You know, we had a couple early on, but since then it's just been.
And that early was just them in their blind spots.
In their feelings.
Yeah.
You know, and
nobody want to hear about themselves.
No. Nobody don't want you to point out their faults.
No.
We ask you guys to point out ours.
Yeah.
Because that's how you grow.
I mean, we point out ours.
Yeah. That's how you grow. That's how you get better. I'm trying to be good at this.
Yeah, man.
And all of you out there who know me know that I don't settle for being okay.
Yeah.
Being just okay is not okay.
Right. You know, we last week we talked about self-sabotage, even though we don't know when this one's coming out. But when we put that out, it's like, you know, the feedback was, you know, interesting.
Yeah,
you know?
and that's why I put up that post about being average. You saw that in my story. It's like I was talking to my mom, and I made that statement. She's like, can you say that again? I was like, yeah, the problem with being average is that you're average.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It is exactly that. And you can't expect this if you settle for average.
It's kind of like the difference between first place and second place, you know?
You ain't winning.
You ain't winning.
Nobody runs a race hoping they get number 2.
So stop looking for your participation trophies.
We need to cut all that shit out. Yeah, I said it. For all you parents out there who are just happy little Johnny made the team.
Yeah. Oh, I got a good one the other day. I heard someone say this, and he was talking about safe space. Everybody has, a safe space. How about a courageous place?
I'm sorry, what's a safe space? What does that mean? I mean, I know what you're saying, but I'm just like, why would I even?
Safe is scarcity. Safe is not dealing with your shit.
Well,
safe is
when you tell people this is a safe space, that means nobody ever feels uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You learn and you grow by putting yourself in uncomfortable situations.
That's right.
If you're always comfortable, you don't know what you can do.
Right.
And that level of comfort is fine, but you got to grow by putting yourself in an uncomfortable spot.
Yeah.
And if you're always in a safe space, you'll never, because there's going to come a time when you're not going to be in a safe space. The world is just not that kind.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to tell you that. And it's funny, my brother and I tell my sister-in-law that about my nephews all the time. Like, hey, we talk to them and treat them like we do because they're little black boys growing up in a not-so-kind world.
Yeah.
And at some point in time, you can't protect them. They're going to be grown men.
Yeah.
We're not going to be able to be there to protect them. They're going to have to learn that they're going to learn anyway that the world isn't kind.
Yeah.
I mean, they learn that in school because kids are terrible. Think about how terrible kids are to each other, man.
Chris Rock talked about it.
They're ruthless. Dude, they're ruthless.
You need bullies. Yeah. We talked about that.
They are ruthless.
You need bullies.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this the other day, and I was sharing with a client. I said, we were talking about safe space as well. I said, safe space is scarcity. Safe space is being comfortable of not progressing. Is being excited about progressing. The next level is being fulfilling. What is fulfilling is going to that uncomfortable place. And having absolute success and being fulfilled is learn how to manage that uncomfortable space.
Well, here's the thing. Is there such thing as absolute success?
Relative to that person, whatever that means to them.
Right, but if you reach the point of absolute success,
do
you stop? So that's where the analogy of climbing the mountain comes from. People are like, oh, I made it to the top of the mountain. Have you really? And so I always say, and it's called climbing a mountain because you're uncomfortable.
Right.
Each level you go up, the air gets thinner, less people make it up there. Not everybody reaches the top of the mountain, but you should never see the top of the mountain because you should never want to stop climbing.
Right. Good point.
And I look at that when we talk about absolute success. Mm-hmm. You've succeeded at making a great drink today. Does that mean you can't make a better drink next week? Or are you saying this is the pinnacle?
I mean, they're all great.
That right there. Remember when we talked about the Dunning-Kruger effect?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. No, but you see what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
It's if you think that you can't do better, if you think that I've made it, then what do you go from there? Do you die?
Yeah.
Or do you get complacent and lose it all?
Yeah, you've capped your greatness.
Exactly. You can always be better. And like how you always say, you can be giant, but a giant can always be a bigger giant.
That's right.
It's that simple. And if we keep looking at, oh, this is the goal and that's it. And, it'll get us into our topic for today.
Funny how we led into that.
Dude, not
Didn't
even realizing.
Expect that.
But let's talk about this drink, because this was a good one. And y'all are going to start to think that, why does this dude got so much alcohol at his house? But it's funny because there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with having a full bar, because there will always be people that will drink something different than you. If it were up to me, my full bar would be just tequila.
You don't let nobody over here.
I just don't let you over here. Don't think nobody comes because you don't come. See how he always thinks it's about him?
It is.
But it's necessary, I think, if you are somebody who likes to partake in the libations of life.
Ooh, listen to him.
Which, that sweet nectar.
He's conversing about libations.
You got to have all the staples: tequila, rum. I don't have gin in my house because that shit gets no play over here. But that being said, Coach was like, "Yeah, what are we gonna drink today?" I was like, "That's what we got at the house." And then we remembered, we got something in the fridge. So he came up with this concoction. What we sipping on today, man?
We are sipping on a dark and stormy. Dark and stormy. We keep forgetting about rum. So we decided to throw something together. It's called a dark and stormy, especially it leads into today's topic.
It describes my week. This past week. We'll get into that.
Yeah, exactly. It is 2 ounces of tequila, tequila. Listen to me. I'm already on tequila. 2 ounces of dark rum, ginger beer, about 4 ounces of ginger beer, and a little bit of lime juice, and just stir it. Put it on over ice and stir it up.
It's so good, y'all. I mean,
I know, and we realized that. Oh my God, why don't we go to rum sometimes?
Yeah, this is a great cocktail. So when y'all listen to this episode, pour this one and enjoy what we're about to come at y'all with today, because it's gonna be a good topic. All of them are good topics to us,
right?
But
to us,
and y'all are gonna learn. But cheers to you guys for sticking in there with us. Welcome to year 2.
And hopefully,
can you believe that?
Some of this information.
Year 2. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. I know.
Let's go.
Yes.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That was quite tasty.
But,
I know I say that all the time, but this one. Yeah.
But we were just talking about the dark and stormy. That's a good name for this cocktail. It's good.
Yes.
This week, man.
Talk about dark and stormy.
This week has been this week was a little rough, and any of you guys who follow me on social media will understand that, as a physician, we have to somewhat separate ourselves from life's reality and what we're doing. Mm-hmm. And in a nutshell, a good dude that I've known for a lot of years passed away on Wednesday while I was at work, and I was there for some of his last moments in between 2 of my surgeries. And, his wife and his kids, sobbing on the shoulders of my brother and I. And it's one of those things where you're there when it's going down, and then especially when it's not expected. It happened very quickly. Mm-hmm. And then you're going back into the operating room with this in the back of your mind thinking, okay, at any moment now he's going to take his last breath, whenever that is, 5 minutes from now or an hour from now, but you know it's coming. But yet you have to remain laser focused, because the only thing that matters in that moment is the patient on the table. And I think those of you out there who are not physicians, you'll never understand what that means. And those of you who are not surgeons really won't know what that means. And you just have to be able to compartmentalize. And a lot of times that carries over into our personal life, where we just compartmentalize shit and you push it to the background, and eventually it rears its head. But yet we're so good at pushing it into the background. Number one, men, that's what we do. Now you throw me being a surgeon on top of that. Right. And it was a tough week.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then still dealing with how to navigate the waters with that young woman who I was telling you about before. She's emailing me this week, and we're just talking through her life, because, she was diagnosed with cancer 2 weeks ago, and you keep going, and then it's just, and I think all of that is probably why I was telling you I couldn't sleep. So I just jumped up and exercised, because that pushes everything to the background.
The body always keeps score.
Yeah.
The body will always keep score.
Just like last night, eyes popped open 2 a.m. I'm like, all right, guess I'm up. But you kind of push through, and now being here to talk it through, you realize, okay, this is probably what's needed to talk it through. And some people are like, I just don't want to talk about it. No, we talk about it because it's not a bad thing or a sad thing. It's just you talk about it so you don't have to. So that's how it gets dealt with.
Yeah.
You know,
it's about the human experience, man.
yeah. So
It's all part of it.
Dark and Stormy was a good way to lead into this week. And then, you know, it was dark and stormy outside all week, raining. But what you do realize is when the storm clouds break, the sun comes out on the other side, and it's a new day. And that's how.
And he said it best. The sun will come out tomorrow.
And so that's it. But it makes you realize how important it is to let the people in your world know that they matter. You know, and it was cool. I think the best part is the week before, I was able to sit down with him, and he was like, "Yeah, let's go to the Laker game, whatever." So that's what made it tough. 5 days later, when he's like, "Okay, I'm out," you know. So it's good that we had that conversation, and it made his day, and was there before the end, as opposed to showing up after. Nobody wants to. Who cares when you come if you come after?
Right.
That doesn't matter. And so it's good to let the people in your world know, okay, you matter. And this is why you matter. Don't say, oh, he was such a good dude. No, be like, dude, you are a good dude.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah. You know, it's one of those things also is you have to, time is precious, and we talked about that. We talk about it all the time, but just being in the moment, like when you have those moments with people, share.
Yeah.
Don't say, oh, you know what? Let me get to him on this day, or let me get to him on Monday, or just share. Just say, hey, thinking about you. Just wanted to say what's up.
But being there in that moment at the end of somebody's life and seeing how that's playing out with his family and all of that, what I realized, which is going to lead us into the topic today, is my idea of what a perfect, fulfilling life has been evolving. You know what I mean?
Right.
Based on what I thought was important versus what really is important. And we'll get into that. How was your week, man?
My week was it was good. I mean, it's challenging, you know, because of course, and we've talked about it, just dealing with the whole back thing.
I got a blow pop, y'all.
Oh my goodness, you're killing me. I'm mad that I gave you one. But
and I got it in a glass so it doesn't stick to the napkin.
a bunch of lint in your mouth.
Yeah, it's so damn good. Grape or red? I got a grape one.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, man.
That's all right. Be in the moment, baby. In the moment. No, just deal with the challenges at the back. You know, sometimes it's like you just have those days and those moments where you go, I'm just tired of dealing with this. And it's just frustrated, you know, and then you kind of like, okay, life is not that bad. You got it.
But it's okay to be frustrated. Yeah. It's okay because, I mean, people may hear us. They may see us on social media. And they may think, oh, these guys are always on it, always on it. And it's like, nah, there's some days that just, we're not on it.
No.
Today just ain't one of those days. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Sometimes sometimes shit hurts.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's tough to move.
Yeah.
You know, and it's called being human. It's all part of that human experience. And Coach, even though he's fit, he exercises, does all this stuff, he still, you know, gets a bad back.
Yeah. Oh,
and
we talked about it. It's bad.
Yeah, years of just wearing it out.
Yeah.
And so learning to live around certain ailments, but not letting it stop you, is what life is all about. Mm-hmm. Whether they're mental ailments or physical ailments.
Yeah.
You know?
I'd say it always comes back to management.
Yeah.
It's how you manage it.
Exactly, right?
You know, it's like how much space are you going to give it? You know, are you going
to let it control you?
Exactly.
Or are you going to control it?
Exactly. Or what are some of the things that can kind of alleviate this pain right now so we can move forward with X, Y, and Z? But, you know, it still sucks.
Right? Oh, yeah. It ain't easy.
Yeah.
It is not easy.
You know, because, you know, I start my morning off with that old man gait. You know, it's like short, choppy steps before I can take actual steps.
Got to get the wheels greased.
My boy told me the other day we were working out. He said, man, you walking left, right, and forward at the same time.
That's what Julian told you?
Yeah. He said, bro, you walking left, right, and forward. I'm like, yep.
I got to move however I can.
I'll get to my car eventually. Might take 5 circles, but I'll get there.
Man, so let's talk about what everybody's been talking about recently. I got a couple what's wrong with y'all. The first what's wrong with y'all. How great is it that dude Kevin McCarthy's getting his ass whooped?
Oh my God.
How do you have 12 votes and people are just like, nah, man, we don't want you? I'm sorry. How many times does a woman got to reject you and say, I'm not trying to hang out with you before you get me? Like, all right, well, I'm just going to stop trying.
Well, at least you know what type of person he was when he was in school.
Yeah, right?
Or single.
Yeah. I mean, it's like this dude is getting up for a vote, and
Hammered.
getting smashed each time. But I like the fact that people, they want certain things from him, and he's not giving in, and they're not giving. They're like, dude, it only takes 5 of them to say no, and there's 20 of them that are saying no. Right?
I mean, when we think about it, when
What would be great is if that brother, Jeffries, the Democrat, becomes speaker, even though the Republicans have the majority.
Yeah.
He'll be the first brother that's the Speaker of the House.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'd be interesting
Yeah.
to see how that goes down.
Yeah. Yeah. That'd be
Very interesting.
Well, weren't they voting yesterday? And
Dude, they vote like
every day?
every day, a couple times a day.
Yeah.
This is, like I said, this has been 12 votes or something already. And
How about Matt Gaetz stepping in? Have you noticed his whole young girl thing
No.
kind of went away?
Oh, yeah. You expect that because it's the news of the day, and then it's not.
Yeah.
But
right now he's the news of the day because he's kind of like, no, I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to work with that.
And what they're starting to realize, McCarthy, who was kissing the ring with Trump, right, thought that was going to get him through, starting to realize, these ultra-conservatives ain't playing that shit no more.
Yeah. The old school conservatives.
The old school conservatives are like, nah, we ain't feeling you, player.
Yeah.
Skip Bayless.
Okay.
So-
like I said, we don't know when this is going to come out, but this is the news of the week, so you can kind of realize what's going
Well,
on.
most of you knew what happened with the football player who
Right.
went into cardiac arrest. And for those of you out there who don't really know what that is, it's seen not rarely in little leaguers. They get hit in the chest with a baseball. It's like getting a thump on your chest, and the electrical circuits in your heart kind of start to act up. And your heart starts to flutter.
And doesn't it hits the in-between rhythm of
Yeah,
your
so
heartbeat?
it hits. Basically, you get a thump on the chest at it's got to happen at the right electrical signal beat, right at a T-wave. That's getting too technical, but right at the right time before your heartbeat is doing its thing to make it just get confused. And a lot of times, what they'll say is, if you get there and you're the first one there, when he drops, the first thing you do is thump him in his chest again.
Really?
Yeah, and then start CPR and all that because it may.
So is that
They may
what
shock it back
is
up.
that what happened?
Nah, they did 9 minutes of CPR, if not more, and then they probably shocked him. But they got his heart rate back on the field.
Okay.
And the one thing they're concerned about is, was he down so long that it's going to affect oxygen to his brain,
Right.
et cetera. And, finally now he's extubated, meaning the breathing tube is out and brain function appears to be normal. So, which is great for him, but let's talk. So that's the background of what the story that we're talking about, the guy from the Buffalo Bills. Now let's talk about people's reactions. I loved in the beginning how the opposing. First of all, it shouldn't have been a question that game should have got stopped. Stop it.
Right.
Move on. There shouldn't have even been a question. But the NFL was him and Han, and the two coaches were like, F that. We're not playing. Cool. Then you have fans of both teams going to the hospital. Cool. Fast forward. Let's talk about Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless. I'm going to let you tell that story.
So Shannon Sharpe, actually Skip Bayless, he sends out a tweet during the course of the game. And he's like, I understand the stoppage of play and everything, but and this magnitude, the end of the season, talking about how, it's so close to the playoffs and the need and necessary play and the wins and loss columns that, that they would completely stop this game.
Yeah.
So, of course, he tweets that, and everybody just starts going in. everybody. I mean, every
Like
NFL,
no concern for the dude that's dying,
right,
that
right.
might die in the hospital.
Almost died on the field.
Right. No concern for that. It's more about how important the game was.
Right.
And when's it going to be played and
Right. So then, of course, Shannon Sharp on the show, they have an opening monologue on Undisputed. So Shannon Sharp is talking about the situation that happened, then what happens with Skip's tweet.
Yeah.
And then, but it's part of his monologue. Mm-hmm. And instead of him being able to finish, Skip starts interrupting Shannon's monologue, which is a monologue.
yes, it's not
I'm
a
talking,
dialogue.
Then you talk.
Right.
You shut the F up.
Right.
And listen to me, and then you can say whatever you want to after.
Right.
So you're not listening. You're too busy waiting for me to stop talking, which means that's how the whole show works.
Right.
And that persona is, I'm light terming it. Mm-hmm. But, so Shannon eventually was just like, you're just not going to let me talk. Oh, you're not going to let me finish my monologue.
And Shannon doesn't hold back.
No.
He'll say what he
all.
wants to say.
Yeah,
which
put it out there.
I appreciate that.
Right, because he drops gems on the show. And he's not like, I'm pro-black, this. No, he just goes in. He defends players. He works with players.
But he goes in on people when they're wrong, too.
Exactly. He lets all of them have it.
Yep.
And he decided, you know what? I don't want to work tomorrow. So the next day, it didn't work. And the powers that be said, Skip, you're going to have to pull this shit off. Because it's either pull it off or that's your ass. Right. Because it was ghost after.
Yeah.
And he apologized and everything.
And of course he went on the apology tour.
Yeah. Oh, he's still on the apology tour.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
You about to lose your job.
You about to lose your job. You about to lose your job.
But that's crazy how people will go on that apology tour only because they think
it's aftermath.
They about to lose. They're cleanup instead of just shutting the F up.
Yeah. Or saying, listen, I apologize. I was insensitive. This is what I was thinking at that time, and this is not how I feel. I understand now. I've been enlightened to what I was doing.
What people need to do is stop effing tweeting everything you think when you think it.
Oh, man. It's killing me.
Think about how many people on a daily basis have to go back and apologize for a tweet they sent 10 minutes ago because they tweeted that shit and then
like Kevin Hart 10 years ago. And he apologized at that time.
Yeah. It's like stop tweeting every single inane thought that you have in your brain.
That's right.
It's okay to tweet what you think, but don't apologize for tweeting it if you meant to tweet it.
Don't tweet what you think. Tweet what you thought. In other words, process it.
Process it and then tweet what you know.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I'm getting at.
Tweet what you know, not what you think, or not what you think you know.
Yeah.
Because that tweet's forever. You can say in private conversations whatever the hell you want.
They'll pull it right back up.
Whatever the hell you want. But once you put it on Twitter world, even if you pull it down, somebody's already screenshot it. Mm-hmm. If you're famous enough. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Plain and simple. Mm-hmm. So stop doing that dumb shit, y'all. And you ain't got to be famous. All y'all who put stuff on social media and then have to recant it, delete it. If you meant it at the time, don't apologize. Just
the part that bothers
living your truth.
The part that bothers me is that you have all these guys that they're journalists. I get it. They're journalists and they decide to be sports journalists. So they're seeking out opinions, thoughts, feelings on whatever's going out there in the sports world. But when you have this mindset, like it's you become a talking head to the point where you're just like, nope, this is what it is, or this is what it is. You're commanding and demanding that you need to start believing in this. It's like, come on, man, back up. What happened to the Ted Koppel-ish type of people of the world, or the Walter Cronkite,
yeah.
Where they just report the good
state facts.
Yeah.
And if they don't have their facts straight, they will tell you this is a report but has not been verified.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah, we know a talking head out there in the world.
Yeah, and so yeah. And so, man, I think I think people just need to understand that when you put shit out there in social media, number one, as those who consume content from social media, don't take that shit as being gospel. Don't take it as being truth, because typically most things in social media are variations of a truth.
Right.
You know, like you see people on social media who, and I think this is what's destroying some of the fabric of our young people. They're seeing versions of what they think is a perfect life.
Yes.
You know what I mean? People are putting up their pictures on somebody's jet. They're saying, get money, get beautiful, get this surgery, get this filler, have hundreds of women around you, do all this stuff like their life is perfect. When in fact, nobody's life is perfect. When
you said that, you know what it reminded me of? Mm-hmm. When Bow Wow was on the airplane and he put up a picture of him or something about, oh yeah, but y'all about to get on this private jet.
And he was on a commercial airline.
He was on a commercial airline, and the person was sitting right next to him. Said, he's sitting right next to me.
Yeah, it's a facade.
Got blasted.
Yeah. And so I think we want to talk about today, what is, and I'm going to ask Coach this to start. What is your perception or your version? Back that up. What is a perfect life for you? If you had to describe what would be your perfect life, what would that be?
It's living my life with intention.
Okay. What does that mean?
It's
I'm gonna dig deep today.
Oh, yeah, I see that. You trying to cut. You brought out the Gensu.
I'm getting in there. We're leading up to your 50th. So remember how he got at me? Y'all remember the birthday episode. There's going to be another one coming up. And the next 6 months or whatever, 4 months. Your birthday's what, April? Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. The next 4 months, we're going to lead up to it. So every week, I'm coming at it.
He's coming at me. Oh, boy, let me take another sip then.
See that little bead of sweat coming down?
I know, it is. Trickling real slow.
Yeah, just what is, first of all, what is perfection anyway? Is there such a thing?
I think there is not such a thing.
Yeah.
But then again, there is such a thing. When I say perfection, I always think of a effort to work towards versus living in, thinking that this is absolutely perfect. This is the best way. This is the only way.
Right.
But I think it's an ongoing effort to work towards.
Do you think that trying to be perfect or wanting to be perfect is a form of self-sabotage?
Oh, hands down. Hands down. 100%. People live off that. I mean, it's unfortunate, but that is social media now.
Yeah. Because people are trying to, number one, portray that they're perfect or that their life is perfect, even though when their life it allows them to live in a fantasy world. But what they're doing is showing unobtainable results to those who are easily influenced. And they call themselves an influencer, not realizing that what they're showing as influential isn't real.
Right.
Your shit ain't perfect. I always say, and so before we get to me, we'll go back to you. So in Kenny's perfect world, what does life look like? Let's start with work life. In your profession, what would be close to perfect for your profession? Like, where would you want your life to be? Say, you know what, I'm doing what I want to do, and this is perfect for me. Or we'll take out the word perfect. This is great for me.
What's great for me is if I know that I'm emptying my tank every day. I know that I fill up in the morning, I'm ready to go, I get out there, but I'm emptying my tank with reaching out to people, to touching someone's life, whether it's one, several, whatever, through some form of contact. It's knowing that I can go to sleep, that I love the shit out of my wife, and my life. Really, just loving the shit out of it. And I'm gonna say it. Perfection for me, is knowing that I'm imperfect. Is knowing that I have my better days are ahead of me.
People should realize that we are all perfectly imperfect for a reason. If we were all perfect, we'd be like the Stepford Wives, right?
Right.
We'd be robots. We'd be like iRobot. Even they're not perfect.
Yeah.
But it allows us to be different and celebrate our differences, celebrate our faults, which are our imperfections are beautiful. Like one thing, like for example, physical imperfections. Love how, what's her name? Made vitiligo acceptable.
Oh, yes.
The model.
Yes.
What's her name?
I don't know her name.
Yeah, but you know what I'm talking
I know
about.
exactly what her. She's amazing.
Right, and so that physical imperfection became her perfect imperfection.
Yeah.
Or
how about the other model on the other end, who's the quote unquote plus size model, as they like to call her, but she's just amazing. What is her name?
There's a woman who.
There's a few of them.
There's a woman who has this. I saw her on social media. Has this birthmark on her face. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm talking about? And what she does now is she does her makeup to highlight that birthmark on her face in different colors, or whatever. And she takes that imperfection, and now when you look at her, I don't know that I could see her without that, because that is. She's made her imperfection
She's a millionaire.
Stunning. You know what I mean? She's made her imperfection beautiful. And so we look at this world of trying to be perfect, and
the status quo version.
Right. And Kenny, when we were discussing what we were going to talk about today, he was bringing up to me, the concept of greater than and that strive towards perfection. And being in a bit of a fog or whatever you want to call it this week, I couldn't wrap my head around it. So I kept texting him back like, man, I don't understand. I don't understand, and it's not your fault.
Right? And that's what I sent you back when you figured out serenity now.
So then we were multiple texts back and forth, and I was like, it finally started, the cloud started to clear up, and I was like, oh, this is what you're talking about. And you're like, yes, motherfucker. I could see him looking like, geez, how this dude's supposed to be smart. So just a sneak peek inside of what we go through to get to you today.
But that also explains the week.
Yeah.
That's another part of the week.
Yeah. And so, having the conversation about not being perfect, but you are.
Yeah. You are a perfect design.
You always say this, that you're a perfect design of who you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And when you stray away from that, you're trying to be perfect in a design that somebody else has. Yeah. You're trying to be the perfect version of somebody else instead of being the perfect version of yourself.
And that's imperfect.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's that be the perfect version of you has nothing to do with what you see on social media. And I think that's tainting a lot of what people, but social media has become this tool that's necessary, but it's also a tool that pokes and stabs, and we as individuals have a hard time separating ourselves, saying, I should be like that. Yeah. When that's not reality.
I think what happens with social media, though, is a lot of the people, we are not necessarily following the influencer. We're following the label of how many people they have, and then we're following what they tell us to do.
Yes.
Versus how they're sharing. The people that are telling, I tend to shut off.
Yeah.
Because I can decipher the difference. But the people that are sharing their life.
Or just sharing their life experience.
Their life experience, their information. They're saying, I'm not telling you this is what to do, But when I was going through this is what I do. So, take it as you must. But this is where I am.
Here's my life. Here's what I did, and here's what I'm doing.
Right. And hopefully this can be of information for you. That can help.
Take something from it, because it's not your life, but if there's a part of your life that this applies to, maybe I take that little pearl and apply it to me and see if it works.
Well, I mean, you think about it. The best, and you and I both love comedians. The best comedians right now are all storytellers.
Yes.
The best comedians are all the ones of years past. They were storytellers.
Because they're not. And I say this. Life is a joke.
It is.
You know what I mean? And you have to be able to laugh at yourself, and have to be able to laugh at and with others without making fun of others. Does that make sense? If you're able to laugh at yourself, then you're okay with people laughing at you with you.
Right.
Because we all have shit that's funny, and you're just like, all right. And so what these comedians are doing are they're bringing up funny moments in their life, and they may embellish some stories, whatever, but it's still a story, and then they make that story funny.
Right.
Which is Kevin Hart, how he's gotten there.
Right.
And then Dave Chappelle, how he's gotten to be where he is. Eddie Murphy, when he's talking about his Aunt Bunny, these are stories about either real family members or fictional, but they're still stories.
Yeah.
And the greats do that. Richard Pryor, storytelling.
Yeah.
Somebody who used to just tell straight up jokes and used to be one joke after the other and not really storytelling was Red Fox.
Yes.
But he mastered that. Nobody else could master that.
But that was his story,
That was his thing.
It was click, 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 and it was back to back to back.
Yes.
And he was there was just no break.
Rapid fire.
Yeah.
But that was his style.
Yeah.
And so, which people may have said that may have been an imperfect comedy set, but it was perfect for him. And what works for one person may not necessarily work. Like for me at work, I'll tell you. Before we get back to me.
Enough about me. Let me tell you a little bit more about myself.
So, we talked about perfection in your workplace, how you just want to touch people's lives. Tell me how you look at perfection when there's nobody in the room, your wife's not present. It's just you, your thoughts, and what's next. How do you view perfection in Kenny? Not perfection that you put on your wife, like meaning I want to be perfect for her. I want to be perfect for other people. How do you look at your life and say, I want to be perfect for me?
Well,
and the reason why I ask that is because it's got to start with you.
It's got to start with me, and it has been the Achilles heel of me as well. That's what I've been battling, and that's what I've battled, and that's what I typically share on social media, because that is something I know is the idea that you're trying to become somebody else versus me just being who I am. And me just my level of perfection for me now and working through that is just one step at a time. Put one foot in front of the other. As long as I'm not standing in the same place, put one foot in front of the other. One story, one laugh, one share, one reach out. Just these one instance at a time. That's how I know that I'm living in my perfect world. That's how I know I'm living my perfect life. And I'm enjoying the process versus trying to create 5 different ways to do one thing.
So here's another question.
Yeah. I like it.
What do you think you're missing?
What am I missing?
What do you think you're missing in your professional life? What do you think you're missing that you need to obtain to get to the next level? Or what do you do in your professional life to get to the next level of your professional life?
For me, it's just continue the belief system.
Okay.
It's just my continued belief system in myself and application of it.
And I know this is something that you do all the time is your continued education. Your one thing I'll give Kenneth is that his thirst for knowledge. This dude is always reading. He's always going to functions where he's with like people, like minds in his industry that may be giants in the industry or people who may have been in there. You put yourself in a room with people who are your peers or further along than you, instead of putting yourself in a room where you're the only dude like you.
Well, you know what I had to learn about being in that room? There's a reason why I'm in that room.
You told me that, and that's why I wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, because I'm one of them. I'm not somebody that is, just a fly on the wall. I sit at the table.
Yeah.
I carve the turkey.
And realizing that people want to hear what you have to say just as much as you're trying to hear them.
Right.
But how long did it take you to sort of wrap your head around the fact that I belong?
Whew.
You know what I mean? It's
a few kicks in the butt.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. I say it all the time. It's one of those things where it takes a long time because I think with us, yes, I'm gonna say it, being black men. For those of you who hate that we talk about it, with us, as black men, we're taught younger that we don't belong in the room. You know what I mean? Even though our parents tell us we belong in the room and you can do anything, society tells us we can't. So we go through life subconsciously thinking we don't belong in the room, so we got to force our way into the room.
Right.
And once we realize, well, shit, I belong here, and people actually want to hear what I have to say, then you start working towards that soaking in their knowledge and then not being afraid of saying your piece.
Right. And, I found myself getting in those rooms and still kind of silencing myself or smalling myself. And then it's like they'll ask or they'll reach out and say, hey, well, what do you think about this? And for whatever reason, just this, because all the other shit that I've learned, it'll just it'll override whatever I'm smalling myself and say, oh, well, I think this. And
because
they go, oh, shit.
Because you always use that term of be giant. And when you think of, I'm a small guy in the room, think of yourself like everybody else sees you. Everybody sees you as a voice. Everybody sees you as a giant in the room. You just got to understand that, well, yeah, I belong here. I am a giant in the room. They want to hear me as much as I want to hear them. And that takes a while to kind of wrap your head around. In my professional career, it was the same way.
Yeah.
I, for the longest time, I'd go to these conferences, and I'm always like, damn, am I as smart as these guys? Then I hear them talk, and I realized there were times when they're saying things, and I'm like, nah, I think they're wrong. And I wouldn't say anything. I just sit there like, whatever. And I'd travel around the world going to these international conferences. And I would constantly get validation that what I'm doing every day is actually on the right track. When I was in Europe this past October at this big national conference, and this guy's presenting data on some information, on a surgery he's been doing for the past year and a half, 2 years. And it's like, I'm going to have some real data as time goes on. And I literally looked at my brother and I was like, dude, we've been banging out that surgery for the past 12 to 15 years. And he's presenting at a national conference today that he's been doing it 2 years, and everybody's like, oh my God. And I'm like, it validated that we've been doing the right thing, but we've always known we've been doing the right thing. And people have always been naysayers like, I don't know why y'all are doing that. It doesn't work. We're like, well, it works in our hands.
Yeah. I was going to ask, do you think that is because...
And we've done this surgery more than anybody in the world.
Yeah. Do you think that it's because you have to have this finite understanding or this I guess I'm trying to ask in a way that will allow you to say, what is it that keeps you from not presenting or not putting out the fact that, is it that you have to have a level of completion, or
It's more so, I always think,
Yeah. Help me understand.
if this is the right thing that we're doing,
Okay.
how come other people don't see what we see? How come they're not doing it? You know what I mean? And then I realize people don't do things. They don't progress. So, say, for example, you learned one way of training your glutes.
Right.
And you had this same method. I'm only going to do RDLs. Right? That's all I'm going to do. Hamstrings and glutes. That's all I'm going to do, RDLs. If somebody comes to you and says, dude, you know you can do
Hip
X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
And you're like, nah, but this works. I'm only going to do this. Well, there's a new way to do it. It's called progress, you know. But you're like, nah, I'm only going to do this because this works. What I've realized is that my logical brain, if somebody brings me a concept and it makes sense, I'm going to do it. And if it's working, I'm going to keep doing it, even though the masses haven't caught on yet. You know, this particular surgery, now the masses are starting to catch on, but they're still gun shy. And we always tell people, dude, we've been doing this for years. And I've started realizing that I'm not making myself small anymore. I just don't care if people do what I do. You come see me, I'm going to take care of you. You don't come see me, I don't care.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. And so in my work life, I've noticed that patients deserve me trying to be perfect. Here's what I always say. If patients are fans of mine, they want perfection, but accept when you're not. If I'm an asshole doctor, patients expect perfection and get pissed off when you're not. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. You know, and so patients deserve me striving towards perfection every time I pick up a scalpel, because this is people's lives in my hands. So I have to strive for perfection. And one of the statements we make in surgery is the enemy of good is better.
Okay.
Meaning, if I have something positioned perfectly, or not perfectly, but in a good position in somebody's spine, I can make it worse by trying to make it better, taking it out, moving the implants, trying to make it better, and then all of a sudden the bone starts to fall apart or whatever it may be. So we say, you know what, that's in a good position, leave it. Because the enemy of good is better. And I always tell that to the people that I train. But you strive for perfection in medicine because it's people's life that in your hands. But you accept the fact that you're not, because you're not God. You're not Allah. You're not that being that controls everything. You can only do what you can do.
Right. Because you're working on that person's perfectly designed body.
Correct. And you didn't design it. So
Exactly.
you don't know what's going to be thrown at you.
Right.
You know. What I've realized, and this is going to come to shock a lot of people, what I realized in my personal life is over the past few months, and then it hit home the other day, I used to always be that guy that, you know what, I'm fine. I'm a single dude. I'm good by myself.
Okay.
But when you see somebody who's reached the end of their journey and their family is there, their spouse is there, their kids are there,
Right.
and you're like, you know what? You're not meant to be alone in this world, because you're not leaving this world alone has got to be tough. And so I was like, So my idea of a perfect life is being the best man that I can be. And when all is said and done, people can say, he was a great doctor, he was a great philanthropist, entrepreneur, but most importantly, he was a great dude, he was a great friend, he was a brother. And if I'm in those final moments, there's somebody there whose life I touched so greatly that they want to be there when I'm at the end.
Yeah.
You know, and so that made me, and before I used to be like, I don't give a shit. Once I'm out, nobody's going to care, you know? But what legacy are you leaving? So my idea of a perfect life is not leaving a financial legacy. My idea of a perfect life is leaving a legacy that people want to carry on
Right.
the dream that I've lived.
Well, I mean,
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, that's
Yeah.
That's a legacy.
Yeah, you know.
It has legs.
Yeah, and I live my life now trying to every day, and not just with work, just make a difference, kind of like you. And so that's where the foundation comes into play, all these other things, because I think the perfect life means making life better for anybody who's comes in contact with you on any given day. Mm-hmm. You should never make somebody's life worse when they cross your path.
Right.
They may not always be the happiest with you, but even if they're not happy with you, that interaction should provide some value to them.
I always say you leave a person being better, not necessarily feeling better, but being better than when you came in contact with them.
Every interaction should have some value.
Yes, exactly.
I shouldn't be sucking life from you.
We are all here for the human experience. When we say experience, that means we're sharing.
Yeah. And so that's my idea of the perfect life, which in my mind, striving for that doesn't lead to self-sabotage because it just makes me live better.
Oh, if you're living towards that level of your own perfection or greatness,
Yeah.
you can't sabotage that. You can't live in a space of sabotage and trying to be great at the same time.
Right. And so the things that I do, for example, I work out, not because I'm trying to strive for that six-pack model body. I work out because I think, if I'm in better shape, I can live a little longer and touch a few more lives.
Right.
You know, I don't want to be that dude having a heart attack at 50.
Right.
You know, I don't want to be sick because then that perfect life becomes, instead of me changing somebody's life, I'm now asking for somebody to change mine.
Well, think about it. If your muscles stronger, your heart is more conditioned, you have more blood circulation. You have more blood circulation, which gives you a level of longevity throughout the course of the day to be able to touch more people.
Yeah.
You are able to stay at the table a little bit longer. You don't have to take a break when you're inside someone's body, changing their lives. You're available to all the things that can happen to be a greater person, for that person to be a better version of themselves as well.
And the other thing about me wanting to live what I think is a perfect life, and we all got to strive, at some point strive for this, I want to get to a point in my life where I don't do anything that I don't enjoy. Right now, there's things that we do because we have to.
Yeah.
I want to reach a point in my perfectly imperfect life that I only do things that I enjoy and nothing else. If I don't enjoy it, if it doesn't bring me happiness, why am I going to do it? Because it brings you happiness? No. There's things that I can do that bring us both happiness. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
If it only brings you happiness and I don't enjoy it, call it selfish. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And that's, the older I get, the easier that becomes.
I'm be honest, today, mentally, I was hazy. And I was like, I don't know if I really want to do the podcast today. And then I said to myself, this is what brings you joy.
I said the same thing when I was setting this up today.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know that I'm in the mood to do this.
I said the exact same.
And honestly, you
like,
know when I got in the mood? As we were working out.
Yeah.
Sorry, as I was working out.
you know
I was
how,
like,
yeah.
All right, we can do this. And I think because the blood started flowing.
I said to myself, it was, you don't feel like doing it. Today will be a good day to do it then. That way you can learn how to reach into yourself a little bit more. Today is a day for learning. And
he had no idea
that you
honestly, I had no idea I was going to ask him questions until I started asking. And then this is the beauty of sipping on excellence.
I know, man. Let me tell you, bro.
Somebody yesterday says, yeah, so, when you guys are planning these episodes, they're like, you've had almost 50 of them now. When do you plan them? We were like, plan what? and she was literally like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you do realize, just sitting in my office. I was like, you do realize that every single episode that Kenny and I have is a conversation that we've never had before. Meaning, we've touched on subjects just in general conversation, but Kenny and I don't plan. This conversation here got planned yesterday evening.
Yeah, this was by the grace of God.
Yeah, this conversation got planned last night.
Yeah, but
we may come up with a topic a couple days ahead of time, but we're not planning out weeks in advance. We don't, because on any given week, it just depends on what we feel like talking about.
Yeah,
you know, and this is what you guys get. You get us to having a conversation, and so this is part of our perfectly imperfect podcast. I mean, think about it.
It really
we don't
is.
edit. We don't cut things out. You get it. You get everything because we want it to be raw and imperfect.
Yeah, I'm over here scratching my ankle.
Yeah, there's no perfect way to do
Right.
this except to have a conversation. And that, to us, perfection is we want to get better at this every week. If we stop trying to get better at this and we say this is perfect setup, perfect, then the podcast gets boring for y'all.
No, and I think we enjoy the process of us becoming better critical thinkers.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
For sure.
let me think about that. I didn't think about that one.
Right?
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, you know, I hope you guys enjoy the journey that we take you on every week.
And continue to.
Yeah. And again, man, most of y'all don't have a clue what we look like. We don't look like those cartoons. I mean, we kind of do. But we kind of do. But shout out to my man, Rashid. He put that together and just made us look great. But I think you guys that we should really just understand that it's okay that you're not perfect, but you are definitely perfectly imperfect.
That's right. You have perfect design of who you are. That's it.
Dude.
That's it.
Great podcast today, man.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you for letting me dig into your world.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, we just getting started. He doesn't realize that we coming at him.
Oh, my gosh. Old Q&A over here.
Every week we gonna.
I'm sad I did what I did. Where to go find you, Doc?
Dude, y'all gonna find me at Leonel Hunt. At Leonel Hunt on Instagram. You're gonna find me at huntspine.com and thehuntfoundation.org. Coach KJ.
Coach KJ knows on Instagram. Not Bo knows. Coach KJ knows.
Way too
Okay.
young for that.
And CoachKJ.com.
You're gonna find us both at SOE_podcast on Instagram and podcastsoe.com.
I guess we out.
We out. y'all.
Deuces.